So this is a presentation of the promotional strategy for Snohomish County Volunteer Search and Rescue. My name is Mackenzie Brosnahan and I live in Lake Stevens, Washington. I work full-time as a healthcare consultant for ECG Management Consultants, and I spend over 500 hours a year volunteering for Snohomish County Volunteer Search and Rescue, or as I'll say, SCVSAR. So in addition to being an active searcher and canine handler, I also serve as the director of events and communication. So SCVSAR serves Snohomish County in Washington as well as the rest of Washington state. And we are composed of over 300 volunteers who give their time to search, rescue, and recover those who become lost or missing or injured within the state. And the other part of our mission statement that I'll talk quite a bit about tonight is actually to educate the public on outdoor safety and wilderness recreation. So, as I mentioned, I'm the director of events and communication at SCVSAR, and so one reason why I want to update the promotion strategy is so that the organization um, will be asked to hold more PR events, which will help further educate um, the public on our mission statement and how to be safe outside. And so to date, we've primarily focused on the rescue side of our mission. And within my new role in the organization, I want to make sure that we're also educating the public. And we're often asked to attend public events or community events. I call them PR events. And as an organization made up of entirely volunteers, I'm fully dependent on which volunteer is available for each event. And so what ends up happening there is we get quite a wide variation of who is available as well as what message is being shared with the public. And so part of this whole ordeal is to try to standardize what we're messaging at these events. When it comes to brand equity, CBSA doesn't really have much brand equity, and so the IMC will help to provide a clear and consistent message about who we are and what services we provide. And then in terms of our competitors, that really includes any organization who's providing rescue and safety related services to the public. In terms of marketing communication, organizations, I'd select in-house advertising for us because it's the least expensive option. One disadvantage of in-house advertising is that we're limited to the skill level of and the availability of people within our organizations to actually plan and execute our strategy. And so while the plan is to do everything in-house, the only part that I could see us using an external source for would be helping us with our media services. We have several accounts across many platforms that are currently very disjointed, and an outside company could help bring those together and provide guidance on how to best use each platform. So the media services company would provide expertise on how to approach and message across these platforms, and they provide us with a leave behind strategy that we would then follow and execute, which would include how, when, and where to post on the various social media platforms. And since we're not looking to drive additional fundraising from these PR events, we would want to ideally pay a flat fee for the social media strategy that the company would provide. So I wanted to provide an example of how a consumer of search and rescue services might approach the decision to use or not use our services. One of the most common sources of this problem in our county rather, is a family member who realizes that their loved one with dementia is missing. So, a couple of fun facts. Over 60% of our missions in the past couple of years have actually been for what we call dementia walkaways. And across the world, over 55 million people live with dementia as of 2020. So, because this is so common in terms of what our missions end up looking like, someone may realize that their family member walked away and from their home and became lost. And so then the family must figure out what to do. They might Google and try to come up with what they should do if someone's lost, but they also may use their memory, their collective memory of what their family member might be doing or where they might be going. As they think through the different alternatives, they may also make a purchase decision based on cost, as it is an important characteristic to consider. And so in this case, calling for search and rescue is free. Some environmental influences that we would think about for search and rescue specifically. I'm thinking specifically about American culture because we serve Washington State. And then the subculture I'd specifically want to focus our efforts on are actually kids. When we do PR events, we have a lot of fun resources like a kids helicopter. I'll share a photo of that later on in this presentation that draws the attention of kids. And then we also have search dogs that we often will bring to our PR events. For social class, I selected the middle class. So while search and rescue helps people across all classes, the PR events we typically attend are free to the public. And so people who go to those events generally are afforded the time and the means to go to a community event, as well as the folks who attend may or may not be sufficiently prepared or educated on how to recreate safely outdoors. So that's kind of our our opportunity to grab the attention of people. The reference group is aspirational. We are first responders, and so we can be seen as heroes. So kids want to be like us when they grow up. And then finally, the situational determinant is communication. So photos of the kids copter can promote these PR events and show that it's an educational opportunity. From a budgeting perspective, I'd use a bottom-up approach based on our annual budgeting processes and our organization's policies. So our budgeting templates that we use require us to identify how much money is being requested per line item and per category. And because of this, I would identify what we wanted to do for the year and then go to estimate the cost of each of those initiatives. And then in terms of a marketing objective from today's baseline of probably under 5%, the increase in brand awareness would help community event organizers think about inviting us to their events. And so this would help us and be important for us by spreading the word um, about our education and spread more awareness to families across the county so that they end up calling us faster, which helps us find their missing loved one in a more timely manner. And the additional education about how to be safe outdoors will also hopefully reduce the need for us in the future as well. For the communication objective, I'd focus on being more thoughtful in our use of social media. So today we post very randomly throughout the year. And so the communication objective would focus on our efforts to ensure that the message reaches the community event organizers so that we get called out to join their events. For the promotional strategy, we will aim to empower the public by providing them with the education and knowledge on how to enjoy the outdoors safely and what to do if they find that their outdoor activities go sideways. We'll also share a message to individuals at public events where we'll have informational booth and printed materials to share. And then we'll have things like safety whistles and stickers with our search and rescue canines on them to draw people to our booth, and have interactive kids copter, as I've mentioned, our search canines and rescue trucks available for kids and families to enjoy. And then there are 5 primary vehicles I'd use for the media plan. The first being printed brochures, which will highlight our services. We may also ask a radio station to donate some airtime for us to share about search and rescue and what we do. Facebook is our primary social media tool, so we'd continue using Facebook. Search and rescue flyers may be available for local retail stores within the county and the ranger stations for people to see our message and, again, read a little bit more about us. And then finally, SCBSAR branded whistles and stickers are available at most of our events to be taken home by kids and families. So, measuring the effectiveness of our strategies, I would want to measure because, well, if I got to measure, I'd be pretty lucky, just because we don't have much of a budget for this. But if I did get a budget, I'd want to measure and make sure that whatever I'm doing is as efficient and effective as possible. And like I said, it is very expensive. So one reason I would not measure is because it's really hard for me to go to the board and convince them to give me money for something like this. Um, and then I'd go through concept tests with internal SAR members rather than going through the public to work through messages and visuals before presenting them to the public. And then I would also measure the direct inquiries for SAR attending different PR events to see how many people have actually heard of us. So, because the nature of of the elderly and the families and caretakers, I would consider this a cultural barrier where they may not see our message at these PR events, and so something we may want to consider would be to offer to speak specifically at nursing homes and assisted living communities, so that we don't only focus on PR events and trailheads, but we actually talk to the folks who either go missing or their families. And then it was hard for me to identify an ethical implication for search and rescue, but I think that promoting search and rescue events and education could potentially take away some time, space, or energy from just broader issues like hunger and homelessness. And then internally, I was thinking about asking our volunteers to spend time doing PR events that in theory could take away from their ability to respond to an actual rescue mission. But as we just had happened today, I had to cancel a PR event for tomorrow because we have an ongoing mission. Okay, and so I have a couple of slides about the campaign itself. This kind of shows our current state. So we do have a part on our website that has our events in public education. It does include things to do like how to prepare for going outside and a link to what the 10 essentials are, the essential items you should have when you go hiking. And then that's a photo of our kids' copter. But I think there is ample opportunity, and this is where I got to have a little bit of fun with AI, but to put more, as I said, more of our logo on things that people can take home. And so that's exemplified with the whistle in the middle. And then on the left and the right, again, just focusing on us getting ourselves out there. And so this is an example of our search and rescue canines doing presentations and demonstrations out in the public. And then on the right, that's an example of potentially what some of our printed materials may look like on tables at public events throughout the community. So I want to thank you for your time and consideration of how search and rescue can um, improve our promotions. And then here are my citations. So have a good night and thank you so much.